Celtics Talk podcast is presented by 24autogroup.com. 11 locations across New England.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into a holiday edition of the Celtics Talk podcast. Just happy Thanksgiving. Whether you're listening to this as you're making your commute to wherever you're going for Turkey Day, or if you're listening to this after your Thanksgiving Day feast or in the ramp to Friday night showdown with the Sacramento Kings, I want to say thank you. Hope you're checking out the post-game pod. You'll notice this might get pushed a little bit back after tonight's game. We're recording this on Wednesday afternoon before the Celtics take on the Dallas Mavericks. We're still kind of waiting to see what happens with Jason Tatum and that ankle injury, hoping for a Jason Tatum-Lucas showdown. But Friday night's game, we thought Wednesday was going to be the big one this week. It might be Friday because that's when the Sacramento Kings, the streaking, beam-shooting Sacramento Kings, come to TD Garden. And so when that happens, we have to call up an old friend. So we got Kyle Draper popping by, hoping to lessen that commute if you're listening to us in your car by having catching up with Kyle and seeing what it's like actually covering a interesting team for a change instead of the way the Kings normally are. So let's get right to it. Here's our chat with Kyle Draper. All right, Drapes, show it off. Go ahead. You know you want to show off. Put your shirt up and yeah. I was saying.
Yeah.
I was saying when we logged on.
Forsberg.
Don't remember that last year
over here.
I gotta say, it's remarkable. What has been the secret?
I mean, it's not just one thing, Chris. You know, I'll tell you what. You know, Doc Rivers used to famously talk about the eye test, and from the eye test, what I could see is a together unit. I could see a much more talented roster. Obviously, Monty McNair made some great offseason acquisitions, and then you bring in a guy like Mike Brown, who's, you know, coached some of the greatest players the game has ever seen. And it's all just coming together. So it's not just one thing really with this Sacramento Kings team. One thing I have noticed that's different with this team versus the past couple of years, they play hard every single possession, every single night. And I don't know how sustainable it is. And I'll ask Coach that probably later, just because, dude, they're giving maximum effort every single game. And you know how the NBA is, Chris.
Yeah.
82 games, you know, eventually those dog days of January, February are going to come. But right now, this team is locked in, they're dialed in, and they're finding ways to win.
They might be one of my favorite League Pass teams. Like, they are super fun to watch. Now, Drape, roll me back to the trade last year. Like, Kings got skewered for moving Halliburton and all that. Like, how did you feel in that moment? And I mean, is there any surprise that it has worked out not only for you guys but for them as well?
Right. It's been a win-win for both franchises, right? Indiana and Sacramento. And when the trade first went down, I was hurt emotionally because Tyrese was one of my favorite players. I mean, he's a guy that comes to the gym smiling every day. He's just a fun guy to be around. But you have to look at it like this, Chris. Would you rather have De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese or De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis? And Sabonis, man, I know people in this stretch big NBA, you know, want a guy that can just shoot threes all the time, a big guy, but Sabonis does so much for this team. People forget this dude was a two-time All-Star. In my opinion, he should probably be an All-Star again this season. And he just opens up so much, and they're doing a lot of action off of him. You know, they're playing through him a lot, and that frees up De'Aaron, and De'Aaron is just taking his game to another level. And so I'm not surprised it worked, just because I understood from a basketball standpoint that this would be a good fit. That two-man game between those two, a big that can pass, you dump it to him, you can cut off him. And that's what you're seeing a lot of with this Sacramento team, a lot of ball movement and a lot of cutting as well.
It's a lot of fun to watch. It's like, I don't know, usually teams don't figure it out that quickly, and they did. It's remarkable. Right. But here's the main question I have.
Okay.
Tell me about the beam.
The beam is the hottest thing in the league right now, bro. Everybody wants a beam. And so a few weeks ago, you know, the Kings decided, you know, every win, we're going to light the beam right above the Golden One Center, the home arena right there. And they do it home and road. They had done it before sporadically here and there. They had used the beam, but not quite like this. And, you know, my guy Mo Brazelton, who handles the live game events out there, he said, we should do it after every single win. And shucks, it's been 7 straight, you know, going into Wednesday's game against Atlanta. So this beam, man, is the hottest ththing going in the league right now.
4 lasers I read that get shot into the sky. Like the owner was all on board with this. I'm Drapes. I got to say, I never thought I'd be jealous of the Sacramento Kings. I'm kind of jealous. It's kind of fun.
You know what? It's a fun organization to be a part of, right? They do things a little differently. Like, for instance, Chris, I'm a big rap fan. Like last week, they had West Coast Rap Night at the arena. And so Warren G, the Loonies played. It was all West Coast rap music during the timeout.
I got 5 on it.
I got 5 on it. Exactly. And I thought to myself, what other organization would actually do this an entire night? And the place was rocking, man. And I'm telling you, it's just a fun time to be a Kings fan right now, dude.
All right. So, I mean, the more interesting thing for me, obviously, is has Kyle Draper gone full Californian? How are you settling in out there?
No, I'm loving it, man. It helps when the team wins, right?
Yeah.
It makes it a lot easier. And I'm watching ESPN Sports Center the other day, and one of the first highlights was Kings, the win over who did we play at yesterday? Who did we play? Memphis.
Grizzlies.
Yeah, you know how it is.
That was a fun game too.
Yeah, exactly, dude. So it's great, and I'm golfing all the time. I'm still not any good, but at least I'm out there playing. And so, yeah, man, it's I don't miss the cold weather and the snow or anything like that. And now we got a winning team too. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of jealous. Although the weather has been pretty good here. We've got some flurries, but nothing crazy yet. So we won't ruin your return to Boston too much. I do got to ask you about sort of the outsider's perspective on Boston. How much are you checking out this team, and what are your thoughts watching them from afar?
Dude, I watch the Celtics as much as I can, especially because of the time difference. Their games are usually earlier than ours. So I'll have our games going, the Celtics games going on a second screen. And, man, they are fun to watch. And, they're just a hard-nosed, gritty team. Every move that Joe Mazzulla is making works in terms of substitutions. Brad Stevens has done a masterful job. And then you got the two Jays, who are no doubt 2 all-stars. And Tatum's playing like an MVP candidate. And here's the thing about Tatum. Here's the development I've seen in Tatum. And I've said it on this podcast last year, and I've said it in previous years. He needed to find a way to make his teammates better. And he's doing that this year. It's amazing how he's toying with the defense. He can get a shot anytime. He can go off for 40 every night if he wanted to. But he has figured out a way to not only get but get his teammates easy looks as well. I think his playmaking has been one of the biggest stories for the Celtics this season.
It really is incredible. Like, it's funny because he's gone into a slump a little bit the last 4 games, only shooting like 28% beyond the 3-point arc. And people are like, what's going on? And then you look up and he's almost got a triple-double with 28 points. And it shows the maturation. Were you surprised, given the turmoil that the Celtics sort of went through at the end of the offseason and Ime scandal, Robert Williams injury? Are you surprised at all to look up, and as we're taping this at least, still the best record in the NBA?
A little bit, Chris, but as you know, knowing those guys in the locker room like we do, guys that play with a chip on their shoulder, I would imagine they use that as a rallying cry to come together. And because once the Ime situation came, a lot of people wrote the Celtics off, like you said, the turmoil. Then you got Gallinari injury, Robert Williams, and everybody was talking about, man, what an awful offseason for the Celtics. And knowing Marcus Smart and JB and those guys, they use that as fuel, as motivation. And the talent's been there. We know about that. And it's scary to think that they're playing this well without 2 guys, Robert Williams, and let's throw Gallinari in there, that they thought would be major parts of their rotation this season.
What's the biggest surprise to you watching them? For me, just how good the bench has been. A guy like Sam Hauser getting in there and being something. I didn't know how quickly this team would take a step forward from last year's finals run, but a lot of what ailed them has been shored up. And then you added a Malcolm Brogdon. It just feels like everybody went and got something good from the Pacers and made themselves better.
Right. I think the biggest surprise is that, with all the injuries, that they're still maybe the deepest team in the league. Sam Hauser, he wasn't on my scouting report. He wasn't high up, but now you got to account for him. Brogdon, how would he fit in? Obviously, the whole Marcus Smart dynamic, and that's what I say. Joe Mazzulla and Brad Stevens and those guys, every move they've made has worked out. And, Peyton Pritchard was in the slump earlier in the season. And now, he's won a couple of games for them and been huge. It's like every move they make, every guy that plays usually steps in and does well and has an impact on the game. And so I just think the chemistry probably and the depthness, how deep this team is, despite losing Gallinari and Robert Williams, I think I'm surprised by that.
Kick off fall with game-winning deals at Route 9 Nissan.
Lease a new Rogue Sport for $289 a month. That's right, just $289 a month.
Score your game-winning deal now and visit today or online anytime at Route9NissanAuto.com.
We're kicking off fall with big savings at State Line Subaru.
Like a new Subaru Crosstrek. Drive home for just $299 a month. That's right, only $299.
Score big savings today. State Line Subaru, a driver's best friend.
What's your Thanksgiving plan? Are you is the fam still like who you got people left out here or like what do you
I always come on, man. I'm worldwide, big fella. I got people all over. I don't know. The team obviously has something planned and so sort of, when I'm on the road, the team is like my family. So I'll probably hang with the team. Wife and kids are back in Sacramento. It's interesting. I was excited obviously to get on this trip, and then I realized like the one off day that we have on this trip, it's a 3-game road trip, is in Boston, but it's on Thanksgiving. So everything's closed. Everybody's going to be with family. And so I don't know what I'm going to do during the day, but at night we got a team dinner planned. I'll probably walk around. We're staying, near the Common, and I'll check out some of my old spots and just hang out.
We'll post your hotel data so people can go queue up outside and hey, celebrate the return.
I tell you, Forsberg, we arrive in the city now. We got fans waiting for us outside, bro. They're waiting for us.
It's unbelievable. You're gonna be. I can't wait to see you strutting around in all your purple gear and that you haven't been able to wear the last couple seasons because the team.
You know what though? Real quick, I learned my lesson a season ago, man.
Ooh.
I walked into the Garden and I was talking smack to everybody. Cedric Maxwell, Rod, whoever, Scow. I said, that's right. I'm back. My squad's back. And we got hammered. So I'm going to just come into Boston. I'm going to be quiet, man. I'm not saying nothing about the game. I'm going to let the play do the talking, and hopefully it'll be a good game on Friday.
Tell me the evolution of Kyle Draper, the play-by-play guy. What's new tricks are you adding to your bag? Like what do we got we got any new catchphrases out there? What are people going to hear when they tune into Sacramento broadcast now?
Nah, it's interesting because I still haven't developed that signature catchphrase just yet. And that's one thing I'm still working on. But you know me, man, I'm going to come right from the opening tip with excitement and fire. And some fans are going to look at me crazy. If some of my boys get some dunks or something like that, I'm popping out of my seat, man, just because, I like to tell people, I'm a basketball fan first. And the way I am at home watching on the couch is the way I broadcast the game, man. It's going to be fun and exciting. And so,
you match the team well. You said like energy level, right? Energy. Like that they bring it and you bring it. So
exactly. And so it won't be a boring broadcast. I can tell you that.
What do you miss most about Boston? And I was going to say before I forget, like, keep in mind there are golf courses that will be open on Thanksgiving, catering to. See, little light bulb just went off. You said you got. Let me know if you need some recommendations. I'll point you around.
Hey, I'm gonna hit you up after this. I may do that. Like I said, I don't have anything planned during the day. But what do I miss about Boston? I miss the fans. Let's keep it real, Forsberg. We had a good thing going, man.
We did.
Me, you, Scal, Perk, Abby. Like we were, all the time the bosses at NBC Sports Boston talked about trying to develop a pre and post game show like TNT does, and we had that. Like we were really close to that, and the fans recognized that as well. And sometimes, especially during those dark days, our shows were better than the games, the actual product on the floor. And so I miss being, out there working with everybody and having the fans appreciate that. And you're starting to see that in Sacramento now, too, where with this hot streak that we're on, the first thing people wake up and say is, did the Kings win last night? That's how they do in Boston all the time. And so it's starting to get like that. And hopefully we can keep it going. But no doubt, I was watching the finals this past season. That was tough, bro. Yeah. That was tough. I'm like, if Tatum and Jaylen Brown get a ring, I mean, I brought them into the league. You know what I mean?
We could have made the case that you needed the ring. Like,
exactly,
you know, like sort of like if Danny Ainge is getting a ring for like you help nurture and develop. I mean, the poet didn't stick, but you know, like just about everything.
I was there draft night in the Garden when everybody booed, and I was the one that said, "Trust me, JB, this dude's going to be all right." And look at him now, about to be another All-Star year.
You knew the Northern California was always in your blood, and you knew that it was going to translate.
Exactly.
All right, let's
those
finish
are
up.
my guys, though, man. Marcus Smart, you know how it is, Forsberg. When those guys come as babies into the league, and now to see them thrive like they are, it's like, obviously, I don't have much to do with it or anything to do with it, but it's like a proud moment, to see them grow up the way they are and playing the way they are.
And we're glad that we can provide you an Eastern Conference favorite team to watch, and when it's Kings Celtics in the finals this year, it'll be amazing. Yeah,
It's funny because I told my son, I'm like, if it's Kings finals, you know who you got to root for, right? He's like, yeah, the Celtics. I'm like, no, the Kings pay the bills. You see those shoes on your feet? You got to thank the Kings for that, big fella. So that would be awesome now.
Oh man! All right, let's wrap up on this. I need a little bit more information about this team. All right, so we know I almost said Halliburton. We know De'Aaron Fox. We know Sabonis. Give me like the next level. Give me the deep scouting report that I need to keep an eye on with these Kings. Who's moving the needle that is beyond the obvious?
Oh man, you trying to have me give away the scouting report here before Friday's
Brad,
game? But
Brad and Joe are going to watch this on Friday morning, so I was hoping you could map out everything they're doing.
No, you know what though? For the first time since I've been there, the Kings are a deep basketball team. They got a true NBA roster. When you look at a guy like Malik Monk coming off a career season last year in Los Angeles, he can go out there and get you 20 points. Terrence Davis, he repped it for 31 against Brooklyn. They actually have shooting right now. And so Kevin Huerter, let's talk about Kevin Huerter shooting close to 50% from three. And so the Kings now just have multiple weapons. There can be games, and I know Fox is playing like an all-star and playing great, but in that Brooklyn game, when they scored 153, I think Fox only had 15 points in that game. And so they have other guys that can get you buckets. And so one night, maybe Kevin Huerter's not hitting, but then you throw a Malik Monk out there. Maybe Malik's not hitting. You got Terrence Davis, Trey Lyles. And so you got an NBA roster now that can score points, and top scoring team in the NBA, number 2 in offensive efficiency. And they play hard, Chris Forsberg. I'm telling you, wait till you see it, man. These guys,
I hope the Celtics are ready. The Celtics, despite all their greatness this year, are still like prone to those little bits of lulls.
Really?
And my fear is the Kings won't give them that lull. And we saw Oklahoma City came in. They played hard.
Right.
Celtics got kind of caught on their back foot. So very interested to see. And, again, I told the people we're recording this on Wednesday. We're hoping not to jinx it, but it would be nice if the Kings can get through Atlanta tonight and have some momentum and make Friday night just that much more glitzy and glamorous for the fans.
I agree, man. If you come into Boston with an 8-game winning streak, facing the number 1 team in the nation, in the league, I mean, it's a big-time matchup. Who would have thought when the season began, Chris, that a November day after Thanksgiving matchup between the Celtics and Kings would be must-see TV, but that's what it's turning out to be, man.
I would say I put a big X through the Mavericks Celtics tonight, and I circled twice the Kings Celtics. Yeah. All right, Kyle Draper's got to go. Got to call more games. Got to be ready. Enjoy this Kings. Drapes, I'm proud. I'm like, it's you've given us now I selfishly have a West Coast team to root for because I couldn't root for the Warriors after what happened in the finals. So let's keep this thing going.
Hey, we're the best team in California, man. That's right. Let's keep going. Forget the Lakers and Clippers. It's all about the Kings, man.